Hi everyone, this is Suzanne Wachtel. Welcome back. I'm so glad you could join me today because today's an important discussion, I believe, and everyone's talking about it. Are you in a relationship with a narcissist? So I feel like that is the buzzword being tossed around every day. And I just wanted to take a moment and explain what a narcissist is, what it means, and to let you know that there are degrees of a narcissist. There are extreme narcissists. There are, a little bit of narcissism. Narcissist is a term used for someone who has a personality disorder. Now, a personality disorder is very different than a mood disorder. A mood disorder, like bipolar, let's say, manic depression, is when your moods vacillate. They go high, they go low, you're in a bad mood, you're in a good mood. Now, it can be confused with a narcissist. A narcissist is somebody who is very charming, usually at the beginning, to suck you into their world. And they tend to be extremely self-centered, selfish, and they don't appear so in the beginning. In the beginning, they're very generous and welcoming and inclusive. And but as you get into the relationship, and like I said originally, it could be severe, it could be a little bit. And just in their defense, I would say that a lot of our generations right now are very self-centered. Everyone, it's all about them. We're taught this. Make it about you. You matter. You get a prize. You deserve it. So part of our culture, to be honest, is narcissistic, okay? Really emphasizing the goals and what you need and really kind of negating a lot of empathy and compassion for others and sacrifice and serving. We've really switched over more, I would say, especially the younger ones, into a more self-centered society. So in general, I believe that's why the narcissist is really like rampant. Now, if you are the victim of a narcissist, which most people, if they are a narcissist, they're not listening to this. No way. But most people that come to me in my practice are either in a relationship with a narcissist, a husband, wife, spouse, partner, or they're working with someone who's a narcissist, or they're neighbors with someone who's a narcissist, or their child is a narcissist, or they're married to one. And being in a relationship can be super toxic, especially if you're not aware of what you're dealing with, and especially if you don't have the tools to cope and handle it. It can be debilitating, it can be humiliating, and it can just really wear away at your confidence and your self-esteem. Now, to give you an example of a narcissist's behavior compared to, say, a more healthy person, I'll give the example I use. Well, first I'll tell you the joke. There is a joke, and the narcissist says, all right, listen, I've spent more than an hour talking right now about myself, and that's not fair. It's your turn. What do you think of me? So that's one little example. But if I have parents coming in, let's just say, and they're having issues with their teenage child, and the kid is acting out and maybe getting into trouble. Now, if I have a narcissistic parent, I will purposefully focus on how that will affect them. So to get them to engage and to really care and to really participate, I will tell the narcissist parent, oh my God, this is going to cost you a fortune in lawyers. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to be embarrassed. You might even, really have dangerous things with your child. And this is going to take a toll on you and your family. And then I get their attention and they're like, oh my goodness, what can I do for this child? Because it's not about them. Then it becomes about how it will negatively affect them. So they're engaged to get involved in repairing the situation. A healthy parent, I would really just start right out with, what are we going to do to help your child? It seems like these things are going on and your child perhaps is having a crisis or suffering. What can we do to help the child? And that parent will jump in and, have compassion and certainly want to help their child. So that's one example. One thing that I've been coming across lately that's quite common, in fact, it was one of my big issues, is my mother was a narcissist, very self-centered. It was really all about her and being the child of a narcissist. It kind of devalues you as a person. It's more about making my mom happy, pleasing her. How did the way I look affect her? And, just that kind of stuff. And there are many, many books written today about these syndromes because it really did or does take a toll on the people in relationships with narcissists. There's a book called Help, I'm in Love with a Narcissist. There's another book, Daughters of Narcissistic Moms. There's a number of really great books out there. If you go on Amazon and you type in, in a relationship with a narcissist, and so many podcasts. I know Mel Robbins is a big advocate of, saving people in relationships with narcissists. Now, on the flip side, narcissists are not always all bad. They're not evil at times. I mean, I guess they can be like anyone else, but behind, I call it really the Wizard of Oz syndrome, because behind that big curtain of power and wanting to control and have power over and to win and to be the big boss, there's typically a very insecure, damaged person. Now, it could be a man, it could be a woman, and some people, are born with this nature. And you could see as a very little child that they're demanding and attention-seeking and controlling, and that could just be their nature. And then if, the parent is sort of kowtowing to that child, it will really enhance those qualities. Sometimes these things develop. A personality disorder is a thinking disorder. It's like when you perceive information differently, it processes differently. So if I'm in a situation, and I think I'm pretty healthy, and there's a narcissist next to me in the same situation, I may see both sides of the story. I may choose to not take it personally. I may choose to walk away and let it go. Whereas that's my thinking and processing about it. Now, the narcissist will take pretty much everything personally, will be, angry at a situation that they can't control, and they will be triggered. And their qualities will come out, of not being able to not engage, walk away, and just let it go. They might be angry, they might lash out, they might try to make you think you're crazy, flip it around, reject you. So it becomes, a much more complicated thinking. And in a way, I feel sorry for a narcissist because they don't have that ability to just love and unconditionally accept love and unconditionally give love. That's a protective thing. They really are always on guard and calculating, what's in it for them, how can they protect themselves. So as much as we can villainize the narcissist as a healthy person, I prefer to maybe not engage with them or have a lot of them in my life, but I do try to find empathy. I actually feel sorry. I felt sorry for my mom because she really did suffer because of her behavior and the way she processed relationships and friendships and marriages, married 5 times. People rejected her because after a while, who wants to put up with this bullshit? You're like, you get fed up unless you're a very good victim and an incredible pleaser. And those people become total controlled victims. I have a couple of people that have come to me over the years who the mother, let's say, was the narcissist and the father was the pleaser. Now, he may have been extremely successful, but the mother had this ability to take over and control him like a puppet. So if she was upset with the daughter or son, she would forbid the husband to have contact. And he would listen. And this is kind of how it goes. So if they find a really good victim and they get away with their bad behavior, it only makes them worse. And then when they have a partner who actually doesn't stand up to them and allows them to be so controlling and abusive, this is what they thrive on. So the tools that I would recommend are reading more about it, learning about it. Once I learned about personality disorders and what my mom was, I was then able to depersonalize it. For example, if my mom started to attack me or be mean to me, I would say, oh, she's probably in a bad mood, something triggered her, and I would know to avoid her or make an excuse that I cannot come around today. So avoidance, being aware of what that personality disorder does, what their triggers are, especially if you're, stuck with someone, it's your child's spouse, and you want to have a familial relationship, you can't always just choose to walk away, That doesn't always really work. So I would learn about it. I would read some books about it. I would become more familiar. I would find a therapist in your area who is really seasoned about it to give you guidance and advice. And I think if you handle a borderline personality disorder person or a narcissist and you know what you're doing and how you're dealing with it, you can manage them and actually sometimes bring out the best in them and have a beautiful relationship. Because even a narcissist is not all bad. They have some, bad traits. But I have to tell you, their good side is beautiful and charming and enjoyable. And so that's what my advice would be, is to understand what a narcissist is, identify the narcissists in your life, how they trigger you, what tools you can use to effectively navigate them, and then you win. So that is my advice. I did want to do this podcast today because so many people are traumatized by this word narcissist, like it's an evil poison, and it can be pretty damaging if you have a heavy-duty, overt or covert, that means in your face about it or sneakily about it, narcissist, that tries to make you feel bad, knock you down, drag it out, and really kind of break your courage and your strength and break your soul so they can feel like a winner, kind of like the Wizard of Oz. But once you look behind that curtain and you see the little schmageggle that's nothing more than an insecure, frightened person, it really kind of takes the oomph and the power away, and then you win. So to me, if you can manage things in life and even the people in your life, you win. These are wonderful tools, and if any of you need more help with it, please feel free to contact me or a local therapist in your area and refer to the books. They're super helpful. And have a beautiful day. Okay, namaste.